Saudi Arabia, very rich country. We defend them. We subsidize Saudi Arabia. They have nothing but cash, right? We subsidize. And they buy a lot from us. $450 billion they bought. You know, you had people wanting to cut off Saudi Arabia. They bought $450 billion. I don't want to lose them. I called the king. I like the king. I said, King, we're losing our ass defending you, King, and you have a lot of money. That's true. And he said, but why would you be calling me? Nobody's ever made such a call before. I said, that's because they were stupid. Tell you what, honestly, it's easier than collecting $113.57 from a tenant in a bad location in New York City. And it's safer, too. It's easier. It's true. It's easier. So they paid us more than $500 million for one phone call. It took me one call. Now, I'm not bragging. I hate the deal. No, one phone. Ron knows. One call. We have countries like Saudi Arabia, very rich. Nothing but cash, right? So I think they can afford to pay us, right, for defense? And they will. And you know what? They will. And they're buying a tremendous amount of equipment. $450 billion they'll be spending in our country. $450 billion. We pay for the military and we're defending nations that are so rich. And I say to him, King, you got to do me a favor. You got to pay. But nobody has ever asked for money. I said, no, you got to pay. You got to pay. Saudi Arabia is buying $400 billion worth of things for us. That's a very good thing.
You used to say we don't get anything in return.
We are now.
Saudi Arabia.
You know that
you feel like they're now paying for the American protection?
I spoke to the Crown Prince this morning, and we had a great conversation. Yeah. I said, this is a very expensive operation. You and the other nations that we're protecting have to pay. And he said yes. Move the embassy to Jerusalem, but they didn't do it. I understand why, because once I got into office, you have no idea the pressure that was put on. Pressure that was put on me by so many other countries calling, please don't do it, please don't do it. So what I did is I said, you know what I'll do? I won't take their call, I'll call them back in a couple of weeks. Tell the king I'll call him back in a few days. So anyway, so I did it. Then I started making the calls. I said, King, what do you want? What's up, King? And he goes, I wanted to call you to tell you we would be very much opposed. I said, oh, I wish I spoke to you sooner, sorry. And everybody's happy. Everybody's happy. Saudi Arabia is a very wealthy nation, and they're going to give the United States some of that wealth, hopefully. King Solomon, I spoke to him this morning, a long talk. And I said to him, King, you got trillions of dollars. Without us, who knows what's going to happen? Maybe you're not going to be able to keep those airplanes. Because you know what? They'd be attacked. With us, they are like, you know, safe. Totally safe. And I love the king, King Solomon, but I said, King, we're protecting you. You might not be there for 2 weeks without us. You have to pay for your military. And I said to the king, you got to pay. I'm sorry, you got to pay. We're going to protect you, got to pay. Get the money, you got to pay.